It's Justin from the All Things TechIE podcast, and before we get into the next episode, I want to explain that I was missing in action for the month of February due to a family bereavement of my late dad, Bobby. And I want to thank all the listeners, all the fans, and all the AV tweeps, all my contacts for sending me messages of condolence throughout the month of February, and it meant so much to me after his passing 2 weeks ago. Also want to thank Chuck Espinoza and all the guys from Avixa for their support. I was supposed to do a flash track at ISE 2019, and due to everything that happened in February, I wasn't able to attend. Thanks to Chuck for stepping in and presenting my flash track at ISE on the Tuesday. And I also want to thank all the fans who voted for me with the good news of me winning the AVNation.TV AV Professional of the Year for 2018. That meant so much to me in all the roller coaster that was in February. Thank you for your continued support to the podcast, and let's get right to it.
All Things TechIE podcast, brought to you by two tech junkies, Justin Dawson and Simon Lang. For more, visit www.allthingstech.ie for All Things TechIE.
The All Things TechIE podcast is a product of the Extreme Media Network. For advertising and sponsorship opportunities, please visit www.extrememedia.ie. That's XTREME media.ie.
Well, in episode 7 of All Things TechIE, we didn't have for several reasons, we didn't have a February edition of All Things TechIE, but we're now having a series of episodes in March because there's so much things that's going on in March that we have been invited to as well as members of press, which means we're going up in the world, Simon. We're going up. If you'd like to get in contact with the program before we tell you what's coming up in this show, if you'd like to get in contact, you can visit our website, www.AllThingsTech.IE. We are going to sort out that HTTPS jargon if Google's throwing up an unsafe message on your site. We'll sort that out during this month when we get paid, because we work on donations and sponsorship for our show. If you want to find out more, visit our website, AllThingsTech.IE. Yeah, you can contact Simon at Simon Lang AV and myself, Justin, at Justin or Dawson on Twitter. We also use the hashtag All Things TechIE for All Things TechIE. Simon, you've had a busy month as well, even though it hasn't had this roller coaster of events as I have. You have had a busy month of February as well, including the fact that you weren't able to get to ISE either.
Yeah, I've been still stuck in a multi-phase project, which is going and still going. Of AV installs. Yeah, and it's interesting because some of the stuff I'm dealing with leads into some of our topics today. Anyway, we're going to be talking about AV over IP and compared to older stuff and newer stuff, and how do we make them all work together? So that's been a big part of my month of issues.
It's a great actually area to start off on, actually, Simon, which is Dante, AV over IP. Do you know what? Remind me to come back to something that it took ages for me to figure out what it actually was all about, and then and that is AV as a service, AVASS or AAS. Acronyms. Today's show is brought to you by the letters AVASS. We'll go with that. Right. But we come back to AV as a service, right? Because this is the new catchphrase of AV. We're going to come back to that later on. But we're going to talk about AV over IP. What exactly is AV over IP? Well, in the next couple of episodes, we're going to be talking about Dante a lot and AV over IP, including the fact that we have got, like I was just telling all our listeners, we have got tickets to AES. What is AES? It's the Audio Engineering Society, who are doing a full 4-day convention in the convention centre in Dublin. So we were able to score some tickets as members of press to go along to it. Some really great conversations that's going to be coming up at AES. Bluetooth in cars, forensic audio. They're doing a tour of the Windmill studios, that's U2's studios. They also are doing a tour of Abbey Theatre. Now, we're not going to be able to fit everything in, and we have been told by AES that we can't record full seminars, but we're going to give you a really, really cool show reel of what happened at AES. Take loads of photos, maybe a little couple of snippets of video, and we'll share them with you this month. You have put a lot of AVoIP into your new project, Simon. But when things go wrong, which they will happen because that's what keeps us in a job, when things go wrong, what do you do when you have audio and visual over IP and the network's just not responding?
Now, usually that is usually where the first problem happens is it's a switch in the middle now, where before it used to be like a matrix mixer of load of inputs, load of outputs. It's all audio visual, nothing can go wrong. Now I feel like I need to have an actual Cisco qualification or some networking qualification, because if you're dealing with switches, you're dealing with quality of service, or QoS as some people call it, multicasting streams. Oh no, yeah, keep going. They keep getting longer and longer. And so you're now dealing with switches that are carrying Dante, as we mentioned, or Cobra, or whatever people are using out there. You might have a mixture of some Crestron stuff. You might have a mixture of AMX stuff. You might have a mixture of Kramer stuff. And they're all going through these switches and trying to use different protocols and trying to get things to work together, talk to each other, control each other. And from the end user point of view, you go in, press a button, and everything switches on.
Well, see, this is where it comes into an interesting conversation, and I personally don't know enough about it. You've tapped into it a lot more with your new project, but is there? It seems like there's going to be a lot of different versions of audio-visual over IP, where it be SDVoE, where it could be AVB, or it could be Dante, and then you named a couple of other ones there as well. So,
yeah, and they're just the audio ones. Think about the visual ones.
Yeah,
and then you get someone like, so Crestron has NBX.
Yeah.
AMX has the SVSI, which is an older system. Older in the sense it's been around longer, not older as in technology. It's just been around longer. You got Biamp, who are really coming into the market now, and they're visual and sound as well. So, and then you heard recently at ISC.
I always thought Biamp were just going to keep to their audio end of things, and it looks like they really have tapped into the visual end now.
Yeah, their Lux range, I think it's LUX, or I think is how you pronounce it. And so and they have now video servers where you can have your college recordings and you're streaming video on demand. They're really going into it in a massive way as well. And then wasn't it ISE, Dante themselves announced video?
That's right.
As well. So Dante is no longer being associated as just an audio thing, it's a video thing. So there's lots of out there.
But do you think that Dante, because they have had such a say in the audio of IP end of things, that they're really going to take control? Or I'd love to hear listeners' thoughts on this. Is it going to be fully a Dante type thing? When we've been to ISE, we've seen HD Base T as an alliance, and you have so many companies buying into HD Base T. Dante, it seems like when you go along and you look at digital mixers, you see Dante printed on a lot of the material. Do you think that it's going to go the same way when it goes into the visual ends of things, and Dante really buys into this visual ends of things? Do you think it's going to also become an allegiance to Dante?
I think where it's really, because with Dante, loads of companies are making Dante products. So if you go down the visual range, that means loads of smaller companies who are making visual products can now join into the video over IP aspect of it, so people aren't tied into having to use Crestron or AMX or Kramer or all those really good brands, but there might be something for everyone on the range of the market. If there might be a small company who can't afford a Crestron device that's over €1,000, to now there's might be a couple the ones that are lower quality but also a lower price on the market that might be more business class versus enterprise class. So I definitely think there's room for everyone there in the market, but I think yes, they are going to kind of mix it up a bit, because when you think about Crestron recently announced um, their original NVX product was a single device that could do encode or decode. Now they've bought individual devices that are just encoders, or individual devices that are decoders, which is all about kind of, and then the price with that comes down dramatically into the lower half of, I think it's around the 300 to 500 euro market, versus their original product is over €1,000.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Now, we're going to go into the troubleshooting end of things. We were tipping on that. Like, it comes to events, mainly for big events, small events. Sometimes you could be just talking about, okay, the network goes down, it might just affect a podium mic or something like that, especially in higher education. But when you come to events, large scale events, and you're relying on AVoIP, and you've done your tests, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, whoa, this isn't working the way we want it to work. What is the backup scenario? Have we got PA system in house for private sector?
Now, the backup is often very hard to know what to do when you have a network totally designed for audiovisual over IP, and you have a large conference. Rolling in a PA system 10 minutes before everyone walks on stage and trying to run your cables won't happen. If you talk to any live events company, build-ins for a typical analog system is hours of work. So I don't know the short answer to what is our backup, other than you probably have better resilience in your network setup. So if you're going with Dante, you have a backup Dante running. So then you have a failover for your audio. If you're running,
would that be something that you guys have built into your project as a thing?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Interesting.
Yes, we had to, in our high critical areas, had to have resilience. But the resilience in the sense of basic room visual resilience is just straight connections, as in we have a HDMI from a floor box to a projector direct.
So that's a video,
that's fine in a single room. In a large joined room where you might have 8 to 10 screens running, we don't have a backup visual.
Okay.
We have a backup of the audio.
Yeah.
Because the audio is Dante and you just flip over to a second. But the other side, if you have a conference and you lose visuals, if you could have audio only, I think the conference can more or less continue.
Okay.
I know you lose your visuals, but I think if people are really there to hear what the people are saying, you can at least go. But that's in a business environment. Somewhere like the convention center where we're talking about, they probably have some other massive backup system that I wouldn't even know where to start thinking about at this point. But
we would love to hear from guys who have done conferences and around Ireland, around the world. You can get in contact with All Things TechIE podcast. You can visit our website, www.allthingstech.ie. You can contact Simon and myself at Justin or Dawson is my Twitter handle. Simon's over there at Simon Lang AV, using the hashtag AllThingsTechIE. And we'd love to hear from just different scenarios. Like, has it happened to you? Has it not? How you made things work? Have you got a backup plan? Is it analog? Is it digital? let us know. Or what is the chances that things actually fall apart in scenarios like this? Let us know. AllThingsTech.IE. So I haven't done much reading about it, but I do want to get an old pal that we've listened to several of his webinars about, which is the new version of USB 3. It's now going into version 3.2, I believe. And please God tell me that they're not changing the shape of the USB connection again.
No, anything I read quickly on this topic, because this is one area I'm definitely not an expert in, is that it's still micro USB and the USB A connector, or as it's going USB A, is USB C connector.
Yes.
So I think
but
the USB C one is the one that can
flip both ways.
Yes, flip. That's everyone's dream. Goes both ways. And I'm even noticing on laptops, most laptops nowadays don't even have USB A, which is the standard flat connector. It's the new USB C seems to be the standard connector. And if you need the other ones, there's adapters.
Yes. Yeah.
So we are going that route. But I think I read about the standard is it's all about data transfer. It seems to be about, in theoretically speaking, because everything says it's theoretical, is anything up to 10 to 20 gigabytes transfer per second.
Yeah,
which is a humongous compared to, like, I know network cable now, like was it a Cat6 cable? You can get 1 gig connection.
Yeah.
Speed. So that's you think that's 10 times that.
Yeah, like I always think that you might be able to get these USB connections, but like you want to make sure that your computer and processor can handle this absolute speed of transferring data as well. And what's funny is, like, you have to always think about it has to be all devices are on the same type of speed. Like, for example, we use a lot of GoPros in higher education, but I know the version of the GoPros that I have would not be able to run at the speed of USB 3.2 or USB 3. It's a simple USB 2 connection, and even when I record for about 10 to 15 minutes, the actual file size is so large that I can go off and make myself a cup of coffee and come back, and maybe then it might have transferred the file over. But we'd love to hear your comments on it. We want to try and get Joe Cornwall. Joe is the actual expert on all things USB and connectors, and he's done a lot of talks with Avixa, and I'm sure we will contact him at some stage and try to nail him down and see does he want to talk to us for about 15 or 20 minutes. Galaxy have come out with their new range of mobile phones.
Or Samsung.
Samsung? Oh yes, Samsung have come out with a new phone. Why am I saying Galaxy? Yeah, I have chocolate on my mind. Samsung have come out with that was a great cover up there. Samsung have come out with a new range of phones. The Galaxy 10 range, and my God, foldable phones, Simon. Foldable phones. I have to say, I did like what I seen with regards to the foldable, but by God, it's like you might as well be buying an Apple computer or a Mac. It is highly expensive.
And that's the problem. Will people be able to afford it? Or will people, like in the case of Ireland, the phone often is a bill pay, and you're paying it over 2 years as it is.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do? Start extending it that you're going to get 3 years, or people's monthly bills are just going to start getting higher and higher and higher. I don't know how people can afford it. I don't anyway. So
I don't either, and I love to hear listeners' comments on it as well. Is it a turn away from buying one of these phones, or is it going to be the fact that people buy a mobile phone once every 5 or 6 years? Businesses maybe want to update them with clients and the likes, but if you're buying them personally, I don't see it. I don't
yeah,
like.
I think people will want the bigger phone, like the iPhone. Like, so for example, I'm using an 8 Plus at the moment,
Mm,
and it is a big enough size screen for rooting around a document while also checking your mails. And people don't want to be carrying tablets around in their pockets. So we're kind of gone from the point where we were trying to get bigger, and we would try to now get smaller, and now we're going back again the other way where they're trying to get bigger again, but fit in a smaller space. So that's hence the foldable.
yeah, but even with the foldable, right? The length of the foldable, it still wouldn't really fit in your pocket comfortably.
Not with the fashions of today, where everything has to be tight and curvy to match your body.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
definitely not.
but one company that's really taking on the Samsung and the Apple, I think Apple are struggling, and is the foldable the latest thing? I think is a bit of a gimmick, to be quite honest. I don't see this catching on unless the prices dramatically drop. But Huawei and their phones are really taking over, as we've discussed before on previous podcasts, Simon. They're taking over the Asian market. They just really need to tap into the European market.
Yeah, that's their like, so they have the P30, I think, is
Mm,
coming out shortly, and that's meant to be a big competitor in terms of the specs, not the screen and the foldability, but in the sense of the specs. It's out there. I've even seen phones with 3 cameras on the back. So they're trying to now kind of catch this AR, VR kind of 360-degree wide. So you end up with a wide angle camera, or if you turn, I've seen somewhere they're saying that if you turn the phone landscape,
mm-hmm.
the camera can take 3 images and stitch them together automatically for you for a
Like
wide shot.
or a HDR type of shot, a
Yeah.
super type. But like some of the phones that you get now, it's better than a digital SLR camera or a digital camera now at
Mm.
this stage, where you can snap and snap and snap and send. Um, but I do think the prices and the tariffs really have to come down before people are interested in getting a phone like this. Or is it the fact that a phone is now an investment that you have for 3 to 4, 5 years plus? Love to hear the listeners'
Yeah.
comments on it. Would you go out and spend over €1,000 or $1,000 on a mobile phone? Personally, no. I'm still happy with my Samsung S8. If I change network, see, even when you change network, Simon, they're not giving you the incentive that if you change network and come from Vodafone to Virgin, we're going to give you a new phone. It doesn't.
And yeah. Or what happens is the phones are for you to change. They're giving you a phone, and it's 300-400 euros along with the phone and an expensive price package.
Hmm.
So whatever way you have to fork out a decent amount of money. Where like, so I'm on a P20 Lite, which is a smaller phone, and was
That's the way as
within my
well.
budget. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
and then my work phone is a iPhone 8 Plus, as I mentioned. So advantages for being a work phone is often you don't have to pay for it.
Mhm.
So it might suit that market, but someone has to pay for it. In this case, it's the company you work for, and how much are they willing to pay for their staff is really the end this question.
I just also think with foldable phones like that versus a tablet that would be of the same size when folded out, what is companies going to go or choose for? Or even as a personal device, what are you going to choose for first? I would be choosing the tablet, personally myself. And you would get the more of the connectors, whether we were talking about just previously USB 3 or whether you'd be talking about HDMI connections, you won't get them on a foldable phone like that.
No, and it's all actually nearly about wireless presenting.
Yeah, it is.
And stuff, and that's a whole other topic we could
When
talk about
wireless presenting goes wrong.
or when it goes right in the first place.
Yeah. Well, this is it, Simon. LinkedIn have now decided to go with a new live platform that will soon be available across, for anyone that does a lot of blogs, or even they're talking about rolling it out in full. Maybe it's going to be just for the pro people that pay for LinkedIn. Who knows? It still has to be waited and seen. There's some people on better versions of it. Are LinkedIn coming into this live streaming social network a bit too late, do you think, Simon?
No, I think so. If they're going for social network, I think they're probably way behind, because YouTube and Facebook have really chewed this up already. I think if it's anything like they're doing their learning platform, which is actually quite popular, where you can do kind of, it's nearly like going to your local school 8-week course on a topic that interests you personally, or maybe just might help your career develop. That now LinkedIn have a learning platform where you can pay for these courses and learn from experts in the field about something. So I think it's a different area or a different angle to learning. So maybe they're just taking it a different, this is like professional videos, as you say. I think like social, it's not really a thing you go, I could see my kids in years to come going, oh yeah, did you see that video of so-and-so playing a prank on someone on LinkedIn? It just doesn't
I
seem
think
to
some
flow.
of the top 4 financial firms and stuff like that might really, if LinkedIn target this correctly, they could really buy up that type of market, where if you have a professional network, that people can also go, oh, such and such has talked at that meeting. I'm going to add them to my LinkedIn and be able to connect with them. If it is marketed properly, yes, we don't want to use the word webinar, because there's already web, but I think it takes away from that Facebook edge. That Facebook is very open to all public to just drive a linking profile of anyone, and everyone can comment on a live stream. I've streamed a lot of stuff on Facebook Live. We're talking about doing these programs at some stage on Facebook Live. Oh yeah, I didn't mention that to Simon. But live, but it's a different type of audience. I think LinkedIn, if they target it correctly on a professional network, they might have room to do live streams. For, let's say, Brexit, for example. Oh, well, I mentioned the B word, the Brexit. If financial firms were covering that end of things, I think it could work. But they're very slow in rolling it out, and
yeah, but I guess it's how maybe the benefit is they're by integrating it into people's network of connections already. So it's targeted webinaring or targeted videoing at specific topics, as you say. So a financial firm targeting everyone who Brexit will affect. If you're a audio visual company who use LinkedIn, it might be at clients and in events area, or yeah. So which is more targeted, because you already have a base already. So if a company have 500 followers or 5,000 followers, you already have 5,000 viewers possibly there before you even send a video beyond that.
Mm.
So there is definitely potential
This is
there.
where there's potential, but also I think they have joined the area too late, because
Yeah.
you have, like, for if we use AV as an example, we have the hashtags every Sunday morning, AV in the AM, AV tweets, and if someone wanted to do a live stream there, they're probably going to use Periscope, because, like, it's linked in with Twitter, and everyone will see it, and everyone can join it live and comment to their Twitter handle. Um, and not everyone is on LinkedIn either. Some people use it, some people don't. It's. I think they've.
It's very business orientated. It's about companies and sales and connecting with future clients, present clients, that kind of stuff. It's not really a social about talking about your dog or that kind of stuff. It's very company orientated.
In fact, I want to mention Irish national radio station Today FM and Gift Grub did a great sketch on with Marion Rosenstock about social networking, and it's supposed to be a man going to a social media building, and they go from one place to the next: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm just going to give a plug to Today FM and todayfm.com. Look at Gift Grub and try and find that social media sketch, or we might put the link in our show notes afterwards on AllThingsTech.IE. It's a great little sketch. So AV as a service, Simon. It's the new buzzword that coming up, and I've only realised exactly what the acronym was. But then my argument on this, and some people would love to correct me, I'm sure AV professionals around the world that listen to the All Things TechIE podcast will correct me on this. In Ireland and the UK, I would call that a service level agreement.
Now, AV as a service, it's a company providing you with a service.
Yeah,
but they're doing it all for you. But I guess as it's coming from a cloud-based, I think, point of view, because most people are using SaaS, which is system as a service.
Yeah.
So it's a cloud-based service that you're being provided with. So AV as a service could be cloud-based. It could be an AV company that is in the UK could be supporting a company in Ireland using Fusion, or I can't think of the name of BiAmp system, but in the sense of someone doesn't have to be in even the same country to support your AV or support you as an AV, as a company. So in theory, I could put myself out of a job here by having, like, if you decided to get kind of service instead of having technicians on the ground of high caliber, that you could have just a low caliber technician on the ground supported by a high caliber technician sitting in a control room. So you have one highly paid technician supporting maybe 10, 20 companies versus one in every company.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Simon. Like, some people, I've listened to some AV podcasts at the end of 2018, and just really getting my head around the whole acronym of AV as a service. And that was, you've sort of really caught me out here by saying, well, SLAs have a difference between SLAs and cloud-based. But some of the podcasts I listened to just said, what is predictions for 2019? And a couple of AV professionals says AV as a service will cease to exist. And you know what? I think, at times they could be right. Maybe it's a more American thing. I don't see it really in Ireland and the UK as much.
I don't think Ireland and the UK have that service. I think it's actually, we're behind the States in that point of view. We often we're still the technician on the ground. We don't have big umbrella organizations looking after multiple companies.
And I'm going to interrupt and just say, is it the fact that we just don't have fast enough internet to remote on and do all these type of things? Along with
That
IT security, is it the big forte of going, I'm not letting this person come into my network and sort it out?
I think that has a part to play on it, depending on your company, in the sense of the company I work for, and it is information is your gold, is your value. So you're not going to let everyone and anyone in at it.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of it is, if you have a multi-location company, you mightn't be able to employ a technician in all those locations. So you need to be able to support it on an AV perspective and give the end user the best service possible. And this might be the only way, is using these kind of big enterprise systems like SA Fusion, or the one that's used by Tessera, or I think Kramer have one as well. There's a few companies, big companies out there, where they have these kind of remote management tools. But I know it's probably diverting a little bit. I know you're saying AV as a service in companies is probably it's somewhat also being chewed up with the things we were talking about earlier on, like where AV over IP is very IT orientated. So AV technicians are becoming more IT technicians but you still need the guy standing in the back of the room with his finger on the faders, or at the visual mixer. So there's still always a need for that in an event space, but I don't know, is there a need for in companies where it's just meeting rooms after meeting rooms and boardrooms and that kind of stuff?
It has been brought up several times in different ways, shapes, and forms, with AB in the AM as a Twitter handle on Sundays and stuff. Is it the fact that AV technicians are learning more IT, or should it be IT technicians is learning more AV? And to be honest, I still believe that there's a separation that needs to be there. We don't need to know about the Cisco qualifications that you just mentioned, about networking and stuff. We have our own ways and means of having to know about sound, about audio mixing, and stuff that the normal IT technician doesn't need to understand about. Okay, increase that by 3 decibels. Increase it by what? Versus us knowing about, okay, that the fact that our audio and visual is not coming through is because it's behind a firewall. Yes, we do understand what a firewall is, but we don't understand the nitty-gritty of what the firewall, what ports need to be open, etc.
I think people need to be educated both ways. I think IT managers need to understand AV from a basic sense of what sound is, and what visual is, and resolutions on screens and all that stuff. And then we do need to be educated the other way to understand that, we are streaming a live webinar, it's using this much bandwidth, and we're fighting on the same internet line as the rest of the company is, doing all its other internet related stuff, and trying to understand who gets priority, and that kind of stuff it's complex, and trying to understand it. But we need to know a little bit, they need to know a little bit about ours, and then it's a give and take and working together.
And I still think there's room, whether or not AV as a service will ever fully kick into Ireland. I still think in Ireland, people are going to use the words SLA, service level agreements, to say, okay, we can, as a third party who's installed this, we can also offer you this type of maintenance, which sort of falls under the remit of AV as a service, but it's still really tied in with service level agreements here in Ireland.
Yes, I would agree with you there. Still, it's definitely like that.
Love to hear what our listeners think about that, especially if you're in Ireland, if you're trying to offer AV as a service. Would you agree that it's usually tied up in a lot of contracts, which is just an SLA? Let us know. AllThingsTech.IE is our website. Simon, we're going to have a full separate episode in the not so distant future about cyberbullying, about live streaming. I can't keep up to date with the amount of different apps there is for that are risky to kids. But I must ask you about the Momo challenge, which went viral global. And personally, I think it was all a hoax.
I actually a bit naive. I don't know very much about this at all.
Yeah.
I've read about it in the papers. I've heard there's been a lot of parents talking about it. I'm a parent of a child that does not um, deal with the internet because she's only 3.
Mm,
So
lucky
so
you.
I
Yeah.
I'm not caught up in that, and I'm kind of, as an adult, it's not something that crossed my path. So I got to say, I've heard about cyberbullying from other aspects of teenagers using it to pick on other teenagers in class instead of the throwing words across the classroom at the person has gone to saying words on Facebook and Twitter and things like that to each other, or Instagram and Snapchat is probably more popular than what I'm talking about. So I don't know very much about this Momo challenge at all, but I understand there is a lot of cyber bullying and a lot of work being done to try and deal with it.
Well, from some of the media reports, for what you're to believe, it was coming through as an app. It was coming through WhatsApp. People were getting links through WhatsApp to join them to self-harm. Some people said they got them to WhatsApp. Other people said they seen an advert pop up to join Momo in their challenge via YouTube. YouTube deny all claims as well that there's ever been any adverts to this. Some people say it's come to Facebook. So you're hitting all these social media channels, but no one, from the reading I've done, no one has pure proof that this anonymous character called Momo, and if we're going to put, without trying to scare off all our listeners or any parents, but Momo was actually, the history of Momo is it was either Japanese or Chinese art figure with big eyes and a very straight V-looking face, large chin, that looked very freaky, and people started using this picture to as memes and as gifs and in the wrong type of shape, means and fashions of what this artist originally made this character for. But people are saying there were self-harm videos and stuff on it. Now, I don't think there's much proof of it. I haven't gone looking for videos that show Momo as self-harm. We are going to have professionals to talk to us about this. We're also going to have a full episode for parents, for the non-tech folk, and some things that even go over my head as a technologist, where there is apps where you just go, what is this app even made for? Like I've seen a list only recently. We will share it on All Things TechIE on our show notes, where it was a list of different apps from, like, I've heard of, well, we've heard of Snapchat, we've heard of, but there's other ones called Kick. There's other ones called that have a group of 10 people that can randomly video chat with each other, that between young preteens and teenagers are using. And it's questionable that parents don't know exactly what apps that their child is downloading on their phone. And again, it comes down to, well, shouldn't there be more education on what apps can be downloaded, or as a parent, how you lock down your phone? We are going to be talking about all this on a separate episode, and we're going to have some professionals on it, because some of the stuff, Simon, has even scared me with regards to stuff I didn't know that kids could be downloading on their phones.
Yeah, it's a big, scary world out there. It's where we used to be just confined to our local town and neighborhood. Now it's anywhere in the world.
Look at the recent things that's been happening, Simon, in Dublin, where a lot of these teenage gangs that are happening, it's happening north and south of Dublin, they're arranging a glorified fight club with knives via Snapchat and then recording it and sharing it on social media. And then we can even talk about as recent as sort of getting away from youth, but the New Zealand atrocity, one of the shootings was streamed live on Facebook. How is this stuff not shut down that quickly? This is the question of how do Facebook, how do Twitter, how do any of these live streaming sites shut it down quick enough? It is a Pandora's box.
Yes, and I definitely wouldn't like to have to answer that question.
No, we don't have the answers to it, but listeners,
Yeah.
we will be doing a separate show on it. We will be talking to, in fact, Simon, one of your old colleagues that works for cybersafe.ie, isn't it? Cybersafe.ie. Yeah, cybersafeireland.org, and we will be joining with them in the future. And the reason we haven't got them on this episode is simply they're so busy going from school to school during the term time and trying to educate children about the safety online. And we don't just mean like don't have a stranger join them on social media. We mean like don't be downloading these apps. And also there's separate conferences and meetings that they have with parents to educate parents about how to lock down their phone. And this is the problem, you know, with every iOS update, with every Android update, people, or even new phone, people don't understand how to lock down their phones properly for kids.
And as parents, how do we manage the phones of our kids without invading their privacy to a point, but also be parents?
I think we need to do a Twitter poll, Simon, as part of All Things TechIE, and ask our listeners, even if you're not a parent, do you know how to lock down your phone? So, for example, if to make it that no one else could download an app onto your phone,
or your kid couldn't download an app without your permission.
Yeah, or come get into your phone. Like how or even we could ask our listeners how many of our listeners, if you are a parent, have shared your PIN to your phone with your child.
Yeah, see, that's just it. There's lots of parents, and I've even seen today, actually, nieces and nephews being able to unlock a parent's phone just by observing them over time.
Yeah, even if you don't use numbers, they have figured out that the key to just go a Z shape or an X or a Y shape to get into the
and that's why it's great. Even going back to our Galaxy 10, they're all incorporating fingerprint now, or your facial recognition to unlock your phone. So my Android is a facial recognition, so it's great. I actually don't have to even. My daughter doesn't have to even see.
So Rebecca hasn't gone to the stage of holding the phone up to Daddy's face and going, it's unlocked. Now I can watch YouTube.
Yes. No, not yet. She hasn't copped that bit.
But again, I just hit my mic for no reason. Again, Simon, people don't realise that there's a YouTube and there's a YouTube Kids. And YouTube Kids don't have any adverts and it's free of charge and it's just cartoons for kids.
Yeah, it's safe and it's down to their age bracket, and it even has a great feature of time. You can actually time it, and after 15 minutes, they know, okay, that's it. I can go do whatever else I want to do.
This is the point. We will be doing a full episode on it, guys. We want you to send in comments, suggestions, things that you've used to lock down phones or smart devices or anything that's connected to the internet with your kids. I had a neighbor only recently telling me how that Santa, before giving the Xbox over to their son, figured out how to lock it down that they can only play an hour at a time. I think Santa's fantastic, guys. And that's, and Santa's little elves should be teaching parents how to do that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Raspberry Pi setting up a London store to just sell Raspberry Pis And to be quite honest, I just think Raspberry Pi is getting very commercial.
Now, I've been trying to find a Raspberry Pi that's inside my budget range since before Christmas,
All right.
because I really want to try some of them.
I want to play around. I'm going to hold up something to the screen here. This is new toys as I had a budget to spend, not from the All Things Tech budget, by the way, techie budget, by the way, Simon, but for $10 on Amazon, I was able to get myself a little PCB holder for a circuit board holder, and I'm just buying little circuit boards again. Oh yeah, Aldi or Lidl, one or the other, Germans again, and they had a soldering gun, so I bought myself a little hobby soldering gun. I'm going to start soldering some kits together again because I haven't done them in ages and I just want to get back into doing them again.
Yeah, because the Raspberry Pi one, I really like the idea because there's lots of things you can do from an AV front. And
Yeah.
I was even trying to make my own media player or Kodi media player and all those kind of stuff for hooking up to my TV.
Yeah, like there's a whole website. We'll put the link up on the show notes for just little Raspberry Pi projects. But like Simon said, it's finding one within your budget. It's getting very commercialized where it's just like, oh, do you want to buy? And it's sort of getting away from the whole idea of like, I just want to buy a circuit board that's a Raspberry Pi and connect it all together and play with it. And
Because I originally thought it was actually for was like to encourage kids to get into electronics, where it's actually become a commercial market by itself as a product that people could use in digital signage, as you said. It's or whatever else they're trying to create and run on a low budget, but it's probably not high security. So from a commercial enterprise point of view, it's very much for the domestic market, I think, more than anything.
Because they never really have sold the idea of are you using a Windows operating system on this? Are you using an Android operating system on this? Are you using a Linux operating system on this? They leave it open to...
Yeah. And I think Raspberry itself is based on a Linux-based system as well. Yeah. So it's when you usually say Linux in most enterprises, companies, they start holding up crosses and start looking where's the holy water to start sprinkling on you.
The power of Christ compels you, component.
So if it's Windows and Apple, if it's Windows, all good. If it's Apple, if it's Linux, you're just crossed the line there. In most cases.
Yeah. And
no offense to
I
Linux.
can just see how many alarm bells that would go off if Simon ever introduced it. I have a cheaper way of doing digital signage in my office. I'm just going to put this on the network, and see how long it takes someone to realize that it's on the network.
Exactly.
You probably it'd be probably worse than like setting off the smoke alarm in the building.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, Simon, we're just escorting you out of the building with your P45 now. Yes.
And your Raspberry Pi.
And your Raspberry Pi. Good day to you, sir. Simon will be joining us. We are going to do it. We'll probably put together a little live video and put it on Twitter as well as we stand outside the convention centre next week and bring you some of the latest and greatest from AES. We're looking forward to that. Also, later in this month, we are going to be talking about cyber safety for both kids and adults and parents as well. If you want to get in contact with the program, you can visit our website, www.AllThingsTech.IE. You can tweet Simon. Simon, I've said just Twitter handle that many times you can't forget now. What is it?
Yeah, it's Simon Lang AV.
Yeah, you can contact me at Justin or Dawson. All the details on our official website. We can be found on Apple. We can be found on all your big podcast networks as well. We are also on YouTube, where you can look at the two of us in our comfortable studio locations. And if you want to sponsor the show, all the details on our website. And you can also donate to the show, which also helps Simon and myself buy new products to play with, and also go to conferences and talk the latest and greatest tech and have a rant about how great or how bad it is. Is that right, Simon?
Brilliant. Perfect.
Yeah.
All Things TechIE podcast, brought to you by two tech junkies, Justin Dawson and Simon Lang. For more, visit www.allthingstech.ie for All Things TechIE.
The All Things TechIE podcast is a product of the Extreme Media Network. For advertising and sponsorship opportunities, please visit www.extrememedia.ie. That's XTREME media.ie.